we also say this as a combined heat and power. Okay, combined heat and power, the name itself indicates that you are combinedly generating two form of energy. One is heat and other is power. So the definition is the co-generation or combined heat and power is nothing but the concurrent production of electricity or mechanical power and useful thermal energy. Okay, so in this word you should be more conscious, electricity or mechanical power. Okay, so you know the process in a conventional fossil based power plant or IC engine based power plant or natural gas based power plant. Ultimately you are converting the pressure generated by you. Okay, for example, if it is a coal based power plant, you are burning coal using the heat energy. You are heating or boiling the water. Once the water is getting converted into vapor, and we'll say that saturated steam and superheated steam. Okay, so if you are superheating the steam will get higher pressure. Mainly we are heating the superheated steam to attain a higher pressure, which will be in the range of 40 to 100 bars. Okay, so it varies. So this pressure generated using your thermal energy supplied will be converted into mechanical energy using the turbine. So you can see here the symbol of the turbine shows that the pressure is getting expanded. Okay, so this is the inlet of the turbine, this is the outlet of the steam turbine. So it's getting expanded, so there will be a pressure drop. Obviously, if there is a pressure drop, the volume of the steam will increase. That only symbolically it is represented. Okay, any steam turbine or turbine will be represented this symbol to indicate that you are expanding. Means here only the kinetic energy is generated in the form of mechanical energy. Okay, those mechanical energy will drive your generator. Okay, you know all generator principle. Okay, when a moving conductor is placed in between two magnetic poles, the magnetic lines will be cutted by the conductor. How you are cutting the conductor? You are rotating it using your turbine shaft. Okay, so once you rotate that, it will cut the magnetic flux according to Faraday's law of what is happening. According to Faraday's law, the MMF is getting magnetomotive force. The magnetic flux will get cutted by the conductor. It will induce a current in the conductor, or we'll say EMF will be induced in the conductor, that will be collected and transmitted to the load. Okay, so this word, why I'm explaining again, you see electricity or mechanical power. So if you are not connecting with the generator, if you are stopping the shaft, okay, and you are connecting the shaft with the other any mechanical output you required, okay, you need a mechanical output, you can do it. So it's like a extracting a electricity or mechanical power Okay, so you can either extract electricity or mechanical power, and okay, this is or and you either extract electrical power or mechanical power, but you are also extracting a thermal energy, okay, for heating or cooling purpose. So the objective of CHP or cogeneration is you you will extract electricity or mechanical power and a thermal power. So I'm sure that most of the people know the term Rankine cycle. So Rankine cycle or Carnot cycle. Okay. So Carnot cycle is an ideal cycle. We generally state that the efficiency is 100%, which is not practically attainable. Okay. This is the maximum efficiency, we'll say. But practical power plant can attain efficiency using a traditional Rankine cycle, a basic Rankine cycle, 35%. Okay. Maximum 40%. And now there are some alterations are there to improve the efficiency up to 45%. Okay, that also we'll see how we are enhancing generally. Okay, they are modifying the Rankine cycle using the reheating process. Okay, so but cogeneration will reduce the gap of getting maximum efficiency. How? Okay, anyhow a traditional power plant will have 35% efficiency. Say example, in Tamil Nadu, we are having many power plant under our Tamil Nadu Electricity Board. If you see the overall efficiency of the process, it will be around 35 to 40 only. Okay. But if you are achieving that itself, more than, like you can say, you are operating your power plant more efficiently. But the as of statistics says that we are not achieving it due to other reasons also. It's not only confined to the efficiency of your Rankine cycle. Okay, so it is like if you say the Rankine cycle efficiency, we are saying it's a maximum limit. Okay, so if you, but only for the operation concern. But if you are using a low graded coal, you are not properly insulating your boiler, you are not properly maintaining your turbine, and you are not using proper heat exchanger and other process, again there will be a drop in the efficiency. Okay, even you are maintaining everything perfect, the cycle efficiency itself 40%. Okay, if you are having an other operational issues, there will be a severe drop in the efficiency. There are some power plant which is running at 22% efficiency, 20% efficiency in Tamil Nadu itself, due to investment requirement, initial project, land acquisition and other process, we are still running at a low efficiency. Okay. But it is not advisable to run a power plant at 22% efficiency. So the major source of loss is where it's happening means mainly due to heat rejection. Okay, so you can see this diagram. I hope everyone is seeing this diagram. So this diagram is little tricky. Okay, so you have to find where you are supplying the energy. Okay, the title itself say that you are giving an input of 100 gigawatt joules of energy. Joule is the unit for energy. Okay, but generally the power plant will be rated in the terms of megawatt. Okay, but for our, we cannot supply in the mega, fuel cannot be supplied in the unit of megawatt, so I am taking everything in the terms of joules. Okay, for our easy understanding. So check here, you are supplying the energy to boiler, obviously, because the coal will be fired in the boiler. So the coal content energy will be taken as 100 gigawatt. Okay, what is this 100 gigawatt means? The coal calorific value. Okay, we'll generally say that if you take any coal, we'll say that a good coal will have a calorific value of 400 kilocalorie per kg. 1 kg of coal will have 400 kilocalorie. It can be also converted into joules. Okay, there will be a conversion factor which you can convert a kilocalorie to joules. Can anyone say what is the conversion factor? Mechanical engineers. So, okay, no one knows. So 1 joule is generally named as or converted into 0.239 calories. Okay. Also, we can say that 1 calorie is equal to 4.18 joules. Okay. So calories holds a higher value. Okay. If 1 calorie, if I say that it is equal to 4.18 joule. Okay. That is the conversion factor. You can convert. Okay. So generally we will talk about fuel in the calories. Okay. Even they are talking about your energy consumption also in calories, right? How many calorie of food you are taking. Okay, so generally food is your fuel, right? You are taking food as a fuel to run your body. Similarly, we are supplying a 100 gigajoules of energy to the boiler. So you can see there are the expected output from the boiler is to the turbine. Okay, but how much this 100 gigajoule is giving? Only 87.3 gigajoule only getting supplied to the turbine. So it's a direct conversion. You can understand that it's 100% efficiency as your input. You are getting only 87.3 as an your output. It means that almost 12.7 percentage of energy you are losing in your boiler, and the efficiency of your boiler is 87.3 percentage. So where you are losing this? Okay, mainly you are losing this, okay, due to unburned particles. Okay, so you are burning a coal, you are not burning completely. This burning depends upon how much oxygen you are supplying, means how much air you are supplying. Generally the air, excess air, will say the excess air to the boiler will be 1.3 times than the atmospheric condition. So we'll have induced draft or post draft fans to supply more air in the boiler, so more oxygen will be pumped inside the boiler to burn your coal. Okay, and that also should be optimum. You cannot supply less, you can't supply more. If you supply more also loss, if you supply less means incomplete combustion will happen. If you supply more means it will take heat with it. Okay, we'll say that is a flue gas which will take more heat with it, since you are supplying more air. That is also again a loss. So you can see here almost 10.2 gigawatt you are losing as a loss, because your excess air is taking that energy, and ash and dust, unburned ash is almost 0.7 percentage, and the surface, you cannot insulate 100% perfect boiler, so there is a loss of 1 percentage here, and there is a leak or blowdown. Since we are not studying in our syllabus about boiler efficiency, when we when we come to know about boiler efficiency, this blow down will come. Okay, this blow down is nothing but generally boiler will reject some percentage of water continuously with an interval of time to eliminate the scaling. Generally what will happen, you cannot pump a distilled water inside your boiler. Okay, so what will happen, if you pump a normal water or somewhat processed water, it will have some minerals, it may form the scaling inside the boiler. So that scaling may affect the thermal conductivity of the boiler, so will be accounted as a loss. To eliminate that, we will do this blow down. Okay, blow down means after an interval of 1 hour, the settled water in the boiler will get rejected or will get opened and it will be removed. So it will affect, it won't affect the scaling process, means scaling won't form. So it will help you to maintain the boiler more clean. So that is blow down. So blow down is having 0.8 gigawatt. So I'm trying to explain every part. Okay, so how far this is more important towards your exam point of view, I'm not concerned. I am more concerned about your practical knowledge. Okay, so just follow it. It will be definitely helpful for you if you are going for some industry or something. Okay, so after rejection, you are getting the steam turbine, 87.3 gigawatt of energy. So majorly you not lost anything now. Still now you lost only 13%. Okay. So see, there is a sudden shift of output. You are getting an energy of 87.3 gigawatt of energy in your turbine as a inlet. Okay. The turbine inlet is a high pressure vapor. So you are getting this much high pressure vapor in your steam turbine. That vapor should be converted everything into kinetic energy, and that should be converted into generated output. Okay, but generator is having almost maximum efficiency. You can say generator efficiency is 97% or 96%. So there is no chance of losing more energy in your generated electricity output. So where you are losing maximum energy, you can see here energy loss from the cooling tower is 48.3 gigawatt. So you can see there is a same symbol is here, right? So many are getting confused here. This is your stack or chimney. Okay. Even if you see a physically appearance of a power plant, many are thinking like cooling tower is a chimney. Okay, chimney or stack is different and cooling tower is different. Whatever you are seeing a tall raised tower in a power plant is not chimney. Okay, it's not necessary it should be chimney. Mostly it is cooling tower. So the symbol you can see it is same, and again the symbol itself indicating that it is getting expanding. Okay, so generally this cooling tower, what it will do, it will generally you will give the steam turbine to the condenser. Okay, the steam will go to the condenser, again the condenser will condense the steam and it will bring the phase change of the steam to water. So condenser will generally say that it is negative atmospheric pressure. So you will introduce the steam into negative atmospheric pressure immediately, because further the steam cannot be used for the power generation. So this will say generally a condensed steam turbine process. Condenser based steam turbine process is a traditional process. Okay, so you are expanding the steam in the condenser to bring it back vapor to its water state. So phase change will happen in the condenser. Once the phase change happen, it will be pumped to the cooling tower. Okay. So once it is pumped to the cooling tower, it will be raised. So you will have a motor here. So it will pump to the water to the highest height. Okay. So from there, the water will be formed as a drizzles or droplets, water droplets, and it will fall from top to down. So this condenser and cooling tower process is losing a power of 48.3. Okay, 48.3 and auxiliary electricity use is 2.8, and output electricity is 36.3, whatever you are getting. Okay, so this is the major area where you are losing the energy. Why we are losing most of the energy? Because of the heat rejection happening in this condenser, and we have to reject it. Since there is no pressure in your vapor, you cannot pump the vapor. Okay, pumping a vapor is not at all possible, because 100 times lesser density than water. If you are pumping a water, it is much easier than pumping a vapor. Okay, so that's why you are converting again the vapor to water. Again, you are circulating that water back to the your boiler. Okay, this is recirculation process of water. Okay, so with a higher altitude, okay, the water will fall due to convection process. Okay, your atmosphere will come in contact with the water droplet, so water droplet will lose the heat to the air. So obviously when it reaches the bottom level of your cooling tower, it will try to come to the ambient temperature. Okay, once you come to ambient temperature, it is much useful to pump the water back to your boiler. It's a regular process. Okay, so you cannot assume, okay, the water involved for a 800 megawatt of power, it's huge. Okay, so you cannot simply discharge the water out, so you have to recycle it. You are recycling it. But other important thing is, suppose you assume that water is not came up to ambient temperature, the water will have a higher temperature. You know that if water is having a higher temperature, the density of the water will be lesser. So you are in the need of supplying more energy for your pumping process, which is nothing but we are mentioning here auxiliary electricity used. Because if you take a thumb rule, 100 megawatt is generated in a power plant, 5 megawatt will be used for its auxiliary power process. This kind of pumping conveyor process and electrostatic precipitators, which will absorb the ash and everything, will be taken care of this 5 megawatt of energy what you need to spend inside your power plant. Okay, so that is the important thing. And your ID fan, induced draft fan, okay, and FD fan, forced draft fan, everything will, it's in the need of energy that you need to supply. Generally we'll say that it is 5%, but here they taken as 2.8. It varies. Okay, so the electrostatic precipitator is here. Okay, so many are asking, may have this doubt where we will remove the dust or ash. That will happen here. Electrostatic precipitator, you already know that, or will have a filter which will filter the ash, and the remaining flue gas will try to escape through your stack here. Okay, so the ash whatever we are collected here will be settled down in the ash pond. Some big initiations are going around the world, especially in India. Ministry is giving so much subsidy for this ash collected. They cannot now dispose directly to the landfill, since it's forming a leachate. Okay, the leachate will affect the groundwater quality. So you need to protectively now dispose this dust or ash, small particles, whatever. It's a fine particle, so you cannot let it out also, it will affect the environment. So mostly they are using here filter bags, which will filter the your ash. Okay, so the remaining, the after some ppm, will say above the particle size, it cannot flow through your exhaust, so it will get settled here. Okay, generally we'll say uh, we'll say that as we'll have a cyclone separator. Okay, cyclone separator, particle size will be high, which are high, automatically will settle down, which is very minute only, need to be attracted using your precipitator or yeah, any form of filter. Okay, so this whatever you are receiving here, now they are trying to use in the fly ash brick and other process. Okay, you are well aware about this fly ash bricks and all they are manufacturing, and even many power plant they are going and delivering this fly ash directly to the fly ash brick manufacturers without any cost. The ultimate aim is now to dispose it into some byproduct, or it should be get disposed safely. Okay, so many power plant, private power plant, they are freely supplying if the fly ash brick manufacturing factories are around some 20 kilometers. They are having some constraint. So many fly ash process brick industries are around the power plant now to utilize the raw material as maximum. Okay. So this is the overview of any power plant. Okay, so I feel that now you will you can come to a rough conclusion how the power plant is working and where the energy is getting lost more. So our point of concern is now why we have to waste the heat in condenser. Okay, why can't we use the same heat for other process? Okay, but here you are losing the pressure here. The second point is you should not lose the pressure. So the steam turbine, the conventional steam turbine itself need to get modified. Yes, it is modified, and they came to back pressure extraction turbine, which is going to play a major role in our cogeneration process. Okay, this much I explained mainly to understand. Okay, what is conventional power plant, where we are losing the energy, why we are saying that generally we'll say that CHP will have a 85% of efficiency. How it will happen now? You can see from this, if you extract this 48.3 gigawatt of energy, okay, so if you calculate the remaining waste, this 10, this is the major next one. Okay, this also can be reduced. Okay, but one of the main thing, mechanical engineers, please don't note down, you cannot reduce the stack temperature below 110 degrees Celsius. Okay, there may be a question which will be asked generally in the interview or any practical, why can't you reduce the this energy loss? You cannot reduce this. Why? Because there is a term named as sulfur dew point. Okay, sulfur dew point means generally coal will have some sulfur percentage that also will try to escape through this flue gas. Okay, so if you reduce the temperature below 110 degree or 140 degree, okay, the range is 140 to 110. If you reduce that, H2SO4 will get condensed in your stack. Okay, so it means that sulfuric acid, okay, sulfuric acid will form if you reduce the stack temperature below 140. So we'll say that it's not advisable to reduce, because if sulfuric acid formed, it will corrode the stack. So you cannot reduce 140. Otherwise, initially you need to clean the coal. You have to remove the sulfur. We'll say that cleaning coal. Okay, cleaning coal itself is a big area. Okay, you can remove the sulfur initially itself. So that will help you to reduce the stack temperature further. If you are not using sulfur, it's a blessed one like India kind of country. We don't have much sulfur percentage. Okay, Indian coal will have maximum of 2% of sulfur. But if you see Australian coal or American or Canadian any coal, okay, they will have 5 to 6%. It's high. Okay, so anyhow, even the 2% also should be removed. So coal cleaning techniques can be employed, so you can save some energy here. But if apart from this 10.2 gigawatt of energy, if you see this 48.3 gigawatt of energy, if you look over this energy percentage, it's high. So you cannot extract all 48.3, but you can extract at least 45 or 40, some 40 or something. Okay, so if you see 39, this is 40. So almost 80% of the energy can be, if you are using the energy itself, it means that the efficiency of the overall efficiency of the process is improved. Okay, instead of wasting, instead of condensing, okay, or instead of letting out to the atmospheric air that heat, if you are using for some process, that is the best way of using. But conventional power plant we cannot use this. Why? Because the process heat, whatever you are taking, you are extracting, okay, you need to use that for some industrial process heat process. Okay, so that's why cogeneration are generally employed not in a conventional fossil based fuel, because there is an objective, or there is a like constraint, like if you even extract the heat. Okay, so what will happen, as I said, that the modification is required in the steam turbine. If you are modify the steam turbine, what we will do in the modified steam turbine means, before losing the pressure, because once you let your steam here, once it reach here, pressure will be lost. Okay, once the pressure lost, you cannot use that for the process heat also effectively. So here only, okay, I'll see whether the electricity load is required or not, or if there is any more need of heat here, okay, heat energy required here. So what I'll do, I will extract before it is losing its pressure. So that is nothing but extraction pressure turbine. Okay, so I will equally balance my energy production or electricity production or mechanical output production with the thermal energy required. Okay, this combination will occur mainly in the refineries. Okay, so that's why CHP, combined heat and power, or will be used in refineries, district cooling process. Okay, district cooling or a district heating process. So where you required the heating energy also, heating means your thermal energy. Okay, heating energy, it's a rough word. You where you required a thermal load. Okay, so refinery is required for distillation process, definitely. Okay, so you equally need a electricity also, and equally need the thermal load also, thermal output also. For example, in Tamil Nadu, CPCL. Okay, CPCL is the biggest refinery in Tamil Nadu, which is located in Manali. Okay, so they are having a CHP system, which they are extracting the electricity also, and also they are extracting the thermal output for their distillation process. So how they are getting the fuel, okay, whether they are burning the crude waste or anything, that it's their point of concern. Okay, so if they can use a coal, they can use a crude waste. Okay, they in many Arabian or UAE countries, they are using crude waste for burning this, and they are taking the required thermal output and electricity output from the cogeneration plant itself. Okay,